Hey guys, welcome back to Top 10 Nerd. I'm Ron Mackenzie LaFergie. We all know Iron Man, and I think it's safe to say most of us think he's pretty cool. We also have a pretty decent grasp on his powers, namely that he doesn't have any. However, there are certain abilities Tony's shown, some that he was born with, and some that he receives through his armors. And let's talk about them. Now get ready, it's time for the top 10 secret Iron Man powers. Number 10. SUPERCHARM. Yeah, we gotta have at least one jokey entry on this list. And sure, Tony's more of a one-woman man nowadays, especially in the movies, but that doesn't stop him from being one charming dude. Tony has had a lot of girlfriends, and even more flings, due in part to his money and looks, but also his undeniable charm. Unsurprisingly, his love interests tend to end things when they realize Tony isn't exactly the long-term relationship type, but I can't really blame them for giving it a shot. The dude's a sexy beast, and I'm pretty sure he could charm the pants off me. Yes, literally. Number 9. Genius level intellect. This is hardly surprising given that pretty much his whole shtick is that he's super smart and good at inventing stuff. Not only does he have an incredible inventive mind, but he's also super talented at actually bringing his inventions to life. He's also an excellent tactician, able to lead the Avengers on missions and make his own complicated plans to achieve his goals. This intelligence is what allowed Tony to become a superhero, and he continues to use it to improve both his own heroics and those of his allies by building them their own gadgets and improvements. Number 8. His armors increase his strength a lot. Everyone probably knows that he gains some amount of strength when in his armor, but not everyone knows just how much. Now this does vary from armor to armor and a bit from writer to writer, but many of his modern armors can lift as much as 100 tons, with the larger ones like Hulkbuster and Thorbuster lifting even more. The current model Prime armor can even increase its size, which increases the strength even more. For comparison, when the Hulk is calm, he too can lift 100 tons. That's pretty damn impressive. And true, he doesn't really use his strength a whole lot since he has, bullets and lasers and stuff, but it's pretty crazy just how strong he actually becomes. Number 7. Constant access to his suits. Early versions of the Iron Man suit were quite bulky and difficult to put on, as we saw in the films and comics. However, as Tony became more experienced with building armors, he learned to make them more compact, fitting them in a suitcase and even bracelets. Most recently, his suits have been even more accessible. After growing used to his handy-dandy Extremis armor that was inside him and always accessible, he made his bleeding edge and model Prime armors in a similar way. Using high-tech nanotechnology, he's able to make his suits on him at all times, either as part of his biology or not, able to be commanded by him to appear whenever he wants. When most of his powers depend on these suits, this is a pretty important trait. Number 6. Suit shift. Get it? It's like shapeshifting, but with a suit. One cool thing about his most recent model Prime armor is that it can change its appearance for different goals. Want to fly under the radar? Stealth armor. Need some extra durability? Samurai armor. Need to beat down a big baddie? Hulkbuster armor. It can even turn invisible so that it looks like the user is wearing no armor at all. Model Prime is just so dang adjustable that it can take on pretty much anything. Number 5. He can capture others in his armor. Because Tony is able to control his armor with his mind, he's able to cause it to leave him and form around another person, and then control the movements of that person with his mind. This is really cool. It kind of gives Tony a form of mind control, and it's super useful when trying to apprehend villains who may be difficult to take out with force. We saw this in Invincible Iron Man number 5 when he held Whitney Frost in his armor while Doom exorcised a demon from her. Here's a sentence I never thought I'd say. Number 4. Master Hacker. This might be a bit similar to genius level intellect, but it's something he uses so often and it's arguably separate from intellect, so I'll let it slide. Tony Stark is excellent at hacking and creating anti-hacking measures. His hacking feats are damn near unparalleled. He hacked Vision by touching him, he made his own suits virtually unhackable, and he even hacked into Star-Lord's helmet, something that Peter Quill himself didn't even know was possible. This is something he uses quite often against technologically advanced villains, and it really comes in handy. Hack. I just felt I hadn't said the word hack enough in that point. Hack. Number 3. Heightened reflexes. This is one power that was increased by the modified Extremis virus that Tony introduced into his system. Because of the augmented physiology granted by Extremis, Tony's reflexes were greatly increased, putting him on much more even ground with agile heroes like Spider-Man. This is obviously super helpful against fast opponents, since he was finding himself outmaneuvered quite a bit. This allowed him to be a better hand-to-hand fighter, think quicker, and react quicker in battle, especially since his suit was essentially wired into his brain. Pretty handy. Number 2. Advanced combat skills. When you think Tony Stark, you think Iron Man, and when you think Iron Man, you think of his suits. But just because he spends most of his superhero time in a power suit, it doesn't mean he's completely powerless without it. Tony has been trained by a number of highly trained fighters, including Captain America, Black Widow, and Black Panther. And using his strong will and intelligence, he learned their techniques quickly and effectively. Even before his training, he was a pretty good fighter, taking on the Mandarin hand-to-hand with some success. But after the training, he became a pretty amazing fighter. This, combined with the enhanced reflexes and strength of Extremis, actually makes Stark a pretty great fighter even without a suit of armor. Number 1. Increased regenerative abilities. Another benefit of the modified Extremis virus is it allowed Tony to heal his wounds at a superhuman rate. He used this to repair the wounds he had at the time, and has since used it to heal his injuries at an increased rate. This obviously comes in handy an awful lot, allowing him to be somewhat more daring with the knowledge that he can heal it up after. He's no Deadpool or Wolverine or anything, but the guy can heal. That's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please smack that thumbs up button and subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos. Which of these powers would you want most? Let me know in the comments section down below. Personally, I'd pick the Genius, but I already have it. Until next time, I'm Ron Mackenzie Lafergie with Top 10 Nerd. Later, nerds.